All right, if you're a musician, I'm guessing you've stared at your streaming report and felt that weird mix of pride and, well, panic. You're getting plays, which is awesome, but the numbers hitting your bank account just don't add up. What if the whole way we think about making money from music is just wrong? Let's get into it. So check this number out. This is what musician and producer Joe Gilder has made from platforms like Spotify and Apple Music since 2017. Yeah, for years of work, that's not exactly paying the bills, right? And this is the reality for so many artists. But this is where the story gets really interesting. Because in that very same time frame, Gilder made this much from his music. That is $1.5 million. And he earned it through 13 other music-related methods that had nothing to do with chasing streams. So the real question is, how on earth is that even possible? Let's just tackle the biggest fear head-on, right? The idea that mixing your art with commerce means you're a sellout. Gilder actually argues the exact opposite. See, diversifying how you make money doesn't water down your art, it actually fuels it. It makes you a more skilled, more sustainable creator. This is about building a real career, not just chasing a hit single. So what's the fundamental problem we're all facing? It's that we've been taught to see streaming as the finish line, the product we're ultimately selling. But the modern musicians who are actually succeeding have completely flipped that script. And this brings us to this idea of a lost leader. Your song on Spotify, it was never meant to pay your rent. Think of it more like the top of a funnel or a free sample. Its job is to make people aware that you even exist. It's the catalyst that leads listeners to the things that actually generate real, sustainable income. For decades, the path was pretty clear, right? You had to get a record deal, find a publisher, and then just wait for the gatekeepers to hopefully let you in. But honestly, that whole path is quickly becoming a relic of the past. Today's musicians are building their own empires by going direct. This whole shift is perfectly captured in the story of songwriter Brianna Marin. She landed a 6-figure publishing deal, the dream. But then the payments just stopped coming, and she was understandably freaking out. Her turning point? She started selling her songwriting and vocal services directly to clients on platforms like SoundBetter. She went from waiting months for a check to hearing that little PayPal notification on her phone within the hour. That one decision led her to her first independent $100,000 year. This right here is where the real mindset shift has to happen. You have to expand your definition of what a musician actually sells. Believe me, it is so much more than just a track or an album. The old model was all about products, but the new model, it's about becoming a business that offers both products and services. You're not just an artist, you're a creative entrepreneur with a whole set of unique skills that other people will happily pay for. Okay, let's look at how this actually works in practice with Joe Gilder's income streams. You can see streaming royalties are on there, but they're just 1 out of 14. He also makes money from session work, mixing, giving critiques, coaching, online courses, even brand sponsorships. The big takeaway here is that he monetized every single skill he developed on his musical journey. And let's not forget the really high-value opportunities, like sync licensing. That's when your music gets used in a TV show, a movie, or a video game. A single placement can pay anywhere from $5,000 to $100,000, which is potentially more than a lifetime of streams for that exact same song. It's all about finding the right market for your music. Okay, I can hear you thinking it already. This all sounds great, but I'm just starting out. I don't have a huge following. This is probably the single biggest mental roadblock for new artists, but here's the thing. It's based on a completely false idea. That's the big question, isn't it? But the answer is, you don't start with fans. You start with the people you already know. You don't need some faceless crowd. You just need a foundation of real human connections to get started. So here's the sell before you stream method, and it is incredibly practical. First, just go through your phone's contact list. Build a small email list from people who know you personally, your friends, your family, your colleagues. Then, before you even put your song on Spotify, offer them a direct digital download and let them pay what they want for it. You will be absolutely amazed at how many people want to support you when you give them a direct and easy way to do it. And you gotta remember, your customer base is way broader than just fans. You can sell your services, like mixing or session drumming, to other creatives on platforms like SoundBetter. You can license your music to the industry for TV shows and ads. The general public is only one of 3 major groups you can actually serve. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, AI. For a lot of people, it feels like a threat, but for the entrepreneurial musician, it's becoming this incredibly powerful tool for creation, for market research, and for breaking into new niches with almost no risk. The key to making this work is finding a gap in the market. By using data, you can actually identify what people are already searching for. I'm talking about specific playlists like lo-fi beats for coding, or epic orchestral music for gaming, or even ambient soundscapes for baby sleep. These are all niches with built-in demand. You're not guessing what people want, you're creating a product for a market that you already know exists. And the workflow is shockingly straightforward. You can research a niche, use an AI music tool like Udio or Suno to generate the tracks, use an AI art generator or Canva to create the album cover, and then use a service like DistroKid to distribute it everywhere. You can literally create and release an entire album for around $30 to $40, which lets you experiment and test different markets at an incredibly low cost. Look, I get it. This is super controversial. But while some artists are debating the ethics of it all, others are out there getting real results. There are AI-generated artists pulling in over 500,000 monthly streams on Spotify. And why? Because they're not trying to be the next superstar. They're simply and effectively filling those gaps in the market. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. How do all these different strategies actually combine into a single, cohesive blueprint for a modern music career? Well, it's all about guiding a listener on a journey. Think of your audience moving through these 5 stages. Most people are unaware you exist. Your music on streaming platforms is the tool you use to move them to aware. Then you use your direct-to-consumer offerings, your services, your direct downloads, your memberships, to move them through engagement until they become a fan, and ultimately a true fan who will buy pretty much anything you create. So here's the new mindset in a nutshell. First, you've got to treat your career like a business, not just a creative project. Second, understand that you have 3 distinct customer groups to serve. Third, see your music as the catalyst that unlocks higher value offerings. And finally, realize that marketing is a continuous process, focused on long-term growth, long after your music is released. Look, that old path of just waiting around to be discovered, it's over. The new path is about actively building a sustainable, creative business around your skills. You have the playbook. The only question left is, what's the first thing you're going to build?